Hello, my name is Mauricio Pérez. Customer service is my passion. For more than 10 years, I have worked with Microsoft customers as an application development consultant, a technical account manager, and an OEM program manager. I like working on customer service because the most of the times it means helping someone who has a particular need or who is facing a problem that needs a solution. Being able to help a customer resolve a problem or win a business deal is usually a fulfilling experience. The success of our company depends strongly on the satisfaction of our customers with our products. Through our services, we can help our customers and partners feel happy about our products by having a positive experience adopting and using them. If you are passionate about helping customers and partners, this video is for you. I will share with you some recommendations that will help you to understand better how a customer perceives a service he receives, so you can help your customers enjoy a pleasant service experience. In the information technology industry, it is not uncommon that we deal with customers in a reactive way, by answering to their different requests for support and assistance. But this shouldn't be a reason for us not to handle customer service management proactively. Anticipating what the customer expects and how a customer will react, we can have better control of the customer service experience, mitigate the inevitable downsides we might face, and make the positive highlights shine more brightly. We really must care about customer satisfaction management. Passion for customer service is a common value in most of the companies. No wonder the models, initiatives, and metrics used to ensure the satisfaction of customers is abundant. We have programs like CRM, procedural quality, voice of the customer, relationship quality, one list, time to resolution, CANOS, model satisfaction surveys, perceived performance, expectations is confirmation, etc. And we use all kinds of metrics to measure customer satisfaction. We tend to be interested in seeing numbers, charts, and graphs to assess the satisfaction of our customers. While these numbers may serve as a thermometer, the reality is that when it comes to customer satisfaction itself, numbers and metrics are irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, customer satisfaction is a feeling, not a metric. You feel happy with a service or product, or you feel unhappy about it. When a customer is satisfied, he may feel relief as he resolves a problem. He may feel joy as he achieves an important goal. He may feel valued as he notices how his service providers take him seriously and with respect, listening to him and being attentive to his true needs. Or he may feel safe by knowing how everything he cares about is under control. On the other hand, customer dissatisfaction is not a matter of a red mark in a report card or a low score in a survey. A customer is unhappy because he feels frustration when he is unable to achieve his goals, or he feels distressed as time elapses and there is no solution to an increasing problem. A customer may feel unhappy because he also feels ignored when no one listens to him, no matter how high in the ladder he has climbed. The bottom line is that an unhappy customer feels upset. So as you may see, satisfaction is a feeling, not a metric. This is one of the main takeaways from this video. The title of this video is Making Customer Satisfaction a Personal Matter, and its subtitle is The Human Side of CRM, precisely because our focus here is not on metrics and formulas, but rather on making a customer feel satisfied and happy. So we could rephrase the title and make it read Managing Customer Relations as if People Mattered. Useful to pay attention to some important findings of the applied behavioral science and its connection to customer satisfaction management. I would like to share with you some recommendations made by Chase and Dasu from the University of Harvard after studying thoroughly how people behave and how this is connected to customer satisfaction management. A common yet mistaken cliché is that perception is reality. In fact, it is not. Reality is reality, regardless of how anyone perceives it. The three colors of a traffic light are red, amber, and green, regardless of how a person who suffers of daltonism perceives them. Nevertheless, in customer service, what really matters is how the customer interprets his experience. The same experience may be perceived differently by every customer depending on several factors. A good example of this is time. Even though time is accurate and depends on the tick of the clock, and the needles of the clock spin around at the same speed, the perception of time is very subjective. To some people, depending on the circumstances, a day may be enough, or too short. The same with a week or with a month. As customer servers, our personal perception of time may differ from the perception of our customer. But our customer is here not to serve us, but rather to be served by us. Therefore, to ensure a high satisfaction, it is our duty to understand how a given time frame is perceived by our customer, to have clear how he, his company, his project, or his product can be affected with time, and deliver our services accordingly. It is also very useful to keep in mind that it is completely natural, and in consequence expected, that people will usually blame a person when something goes wrong and not a faulty process. Think for instance of a passenger who dashes to his gate to see how an airline representative closes it for good and doesn't let him in. The common reaction of this passenger is to get furious at this airline representative, regardless if she was obeying an order, if it was an airline policy, or if the airplane was already late and couldn't wait any longer. As representatives of our company, when we interact with customers, we become our company's face to them. It is through us that the company we represent becomes personal. When things go wrong, or not in accordance to our customers' needs or expectations, they may react by getting mad at us personally, regardless of it being out of our control or beyond our level of influence. In situations like this, it is very important to stay calm and remember that these kind of personal reactions at us are natural, and that in reality customers are mad because they fail to receive something they consider they are entitled to, rather than truly being upset at us. So we must refrain from trying to get back at our customer and fight him back, especially with harshness or arrogance. Instead, it is better to be empathetic to our customer and try to help him understand how this situation has happened and why. Especially when we manage long-term customer relationships, we need to have clear that these kind of reactions are natural and let them go. So, in our next interaction with the same customer, we can continue developing a healthy relationship with him. I would like to invite you to consider 6 principles of behavioral science applied to customer satisfaction management proposed by this study by the University of Harvard. In my personal experience in customer service engagements, I have found that they can be very valuable. Perhaps you will think that these principles are obvious. Nevertheless, if what is obvious is never repeated because it is obvious, it will be forgotten by never being repeated. In customer services, it is useful to never take anything for granted. Every single detail counts and makes the difference between making a customer feel happy or not. First principle, finish strong. In any customer interaction, the end is far more important than everything else, because the end is what remains in the customer's recollections. Imagine that you are flying back home after spending a nice vacation in the beach with your family. To your dismay, the airline positively lost your luggage, and with it, all the nice souvenirs you purchased. No matter how splendid your time at the beach was for a full week, you will always remember this vacation with pain, just for the fact that the end of your trip was a lost and unrecoverable piece of luggage. As our end of the story seems to make the whole story sour. Imagine on the other hand that the airline loses your luggage when you are flying out to the beach. You will have to spend a few hours upon your arrival to the beach buying some clothes and swimming trunks to replace what was lost. But then you enjoy yourself all the rest of the week and you fly back home with no further events. In this case, even when your luggage was also lost, the bright end of the story will make you possibly even forget that your luggage was lost in the first place. As you see, the end is what remains in the customer's recollections. In addition, people's innate preference for improvement is another factor in this principle. So be sure that you always bring your customer a shining experience at the end. For example, at the end of a service delivery, send a personal note to your customer showing your gratitude for having worked with him, and explicitly outlining your happiness on helping him resolve the specific issue he needed, or to secure the huge sales deal that was at risk. With this message, your customer realized that you truly cared. Second principle: get the bad experiences out of the way as soon as possible. Behavioral science tells us that in a sequence of events involving good and bad outcomes, people prefer to have undesirable events come first, so they can avoid dread, and to have desirable events come at the end of a sequence, so they can savor them. Likewise, our customers will much rather experience something negative at first than at the end. In professional services, the unpleasantness often comes in the form of bad news. Many people want bad news brought to their attention right away. Unfortunately, service providers are humans just like the rest of us. They dread delivering bad news, so they delay it until the last possible moment. This is exactly the wrong thing to do. Get bad news, pain, discomfort, long waits, and other unpleasant things out of the way as soon as possible, so they don't dominate your customer's recollection of the entire experience. The third principle is to segment the pleasure and combine the pain. This principle is strongly related to the previous one we explained. People have an asymmetric reaction to losses and gains. Compare winning $10 in one gamble with winning $5 twice. Most of us would prefer to win twice. What about losing $10 in one game as compared with losing $5 in each of two gambles? Here instead, most people prefer only one loss. That is why we should break pleasant experiences into multiple states and combine unpleasant ones into a single stage. There are things we know our customers usually don't like or even hate, just as we do ourselves, because we are also customers of different kinds of services. Just imagine you blast your customer with all these things and experiences one after the other. First, you tell your customer that the bug fix he badly needs to secure a sale will not be fixed. Then you tell him the next version of our product has been delayed a few months, again. You tell your customer then that, by the way, our service rates are increasing. And you do all this very close to the time for the biannual satisfaction survey. Guess what? You also bring up that it is time to begin discussing our contract renewal for the following year. You cannot expect your customer to feel successful, valued, listened, and so satisfied that he looks forward to getting the survey to give you the top possible score. On the contrary, he will be dying to get that survey pronto and blast on it what he really thinks of you. Certainly, there are inevitable downsides along the road. But the fact is that the most of the things we do right. Based on this principle of human behavior, it is always better to space out the positive deliveries and mix in the negative ones. A product team declined to provide a bug fix? Give your customer another fix or a workaround next time. A product is delayed? Get your customer some documentation and roadmap information that will be of help. Combine the delivery of workarounds, valuable training, and critical QFEs with any bad news or a task that might be uncomfortable to your customer. This will help your customer to perceive a much better and ultimately pleasant experience. The fourth principle is to build commitment through choice. What does this mean? A fascinating study found that blood donors perceived significantly less discomfort when they were allowed to select the arm from which the blood would be drawn. The lesson is clear. People are happier and more comfortable when they believe they have some control over a process, particularly an uncomfortable one. Often, the control handed over is largely symbolic, as in the choice of the arm. In other cases, it is very real. The medical profession has long recognized the value of allowing the patient to make an informed choice about alternative treatments for cancer and heart disease. These are extremely important, high-stakes decisions, and great value is gained by including the patient in the decision. He or she feels less helpless, less hopeless, and more committed to making the process work. We can learn from this study and make our customers feel better and safer by feeling they have a personal control over certain things. Let your customer define his own conditions of satisfaction. Let your customer pick the time for your next call, the date for your next meeting, the location for your next quarterly business or technical review. Let your customer prioritize the list of issues his company has sent you over. Let your customer determine the frequency of your status review conference calls, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Remember, granting our customers to feel a certain sense of control over things always brings them a more pleasant experience. The fifth principle is to stick to the rituals. We usually don't realize just how ritualistic people are. They find comfort, order, and meaning in repetitive, familiar tasks. Rituals are particularly important in longer-term professional service relationships. They are used to mark key moments in the relationship, establish professional credentials, create a feeling of inclusion, flatter customers, set expectations, and get feedback. Rituals also help our customers to have a better sense of what to expect and when. Stick to your weekly technical issue status review conference call. Be punctual to your monthly service contract and utilization review. Be consistent on updating your customer with technical information every 2 months. Work with your account team to ensure that a quarterly business or technical review takes place. When visiting your customer, honor their dress code and wear the corresponding attire. This will make your customer feel you respect the company. Begin your meetings with a round of introductions. You cannot imagine how much this helps everyone to feel they are equally valued and important. Some people are introverted and tend to remain quiet in a meeting, but this helps them to speak out and gain confidence with the rest of the meeting attendees. If it has become a custom to take your customer out for dinner when he visits, honor the custom and make of it a tradition. I can tell you, the moment you fail and break this kind of tradition, your customer will feel a certain sense of uneasiness, wondering if you still care about him. If you have sent a holiday card on previous years, keep doing so. And don't just sign the card, but rather write a personal note on it. This helps customers to feel you value them as persons more than as customers. Remember, this video is about making customer satisfaction a personal matter. You must show your customer that you truly and sincerely care about people. The last principle we will consider is to get inside the lives of your customers. If you really take the satisfaction of your customers as a personal matter, you will get to know your customer beyond his work needs. You will learn about his personal life, his hobbies, his favorite sport, and even the names of his children. But we will focus on another important aspect of the life of your customer, his daily life at work. You cannot treat all your customers the same, even those who work for one same company, because each one is an individual with different responsibilities and needs. Take as an example the daily life of a developer and the daily life of a director of product engineering. The developer is usually in need of technical documentation, while the director of product engineering cares more about product roadmaps. A developer must adjust to priorities given to him, whereas the director of engineering indicates such priorities. To resolve a problem for your customer, you work with the developer to get steps to reproduce the problem and logs to debug it. But you need to work with the director of product engineering to get a sound business justification to escalate a bug fix request. The developer's vision is usually constrained to the project he is working on. The director of product engineering has a broader vision, understanding how every technical problem and business decision may impact his product lines. For those reasons, when the developer contacts us, he is usually interested in resolving a specific technical problem, while the director has the duty of securing a business for his company. You need to facilitate the interaction between the developer and our support teams. In the case of the director of engineering, you need to facilitate interactions with our product planners. The developer needs to contact you only every time he runs into a technical problem. The director instead needs to have a constant interaction with different product and business groups in your company. For the developer, email communication is more efficient, Code snippets and logs can be sent back and forth. It is better to contact the director of product engineering by phone, as this is always more personal. The developer needs to know the progress of the investigation of his technical issue. The director instead needs to review the utilization reports to see how his service hours are being spent. The developer might be interested in visiting your company for training. The director is more interested in attending quarterly technical and business reviews. When you visit your customer, you may just stop by the developer's cube to say hi. It would be more appropriate to invite the director for dinner after the on-site work session. Finally, the developer will only care to answer a satisfaction survey to rate the service of a support engineer. The director is better suited to fill in an overall business satisfaction survey. As you may have noticed, all these principles seem obvious and natural, yet they must not be taken for granted. Every detail counts when making customer satisfaction management a personal matter. Always send strong. The end of the story is what your customer will always remember. Stop negative experiences as soon as possible. Combine pleasure and pain. Give your customer the ability to make choices to make him feel he has some level of control. Stick to rituals and identify daily life scenarios of each of your customers. And always remember that customer satisfaction is a feeling, not a metric. Thank you for your attention to this video. This is your friend Mauricio Pérez.